I'm Jade McNeil and welcome to the B Space podcast, your bi-weekly dose of business and property realness. No hype, no fluff, and definitely no BS. Just honest conversations about what it really takes to build something from nothing. Hello, lovely people. Welcome to this episode of the B Space podcast. So, on this episode, you are really lucky to just have me. This is a solo one. Now, this episode is about a subject that's always been brought up in conversations in my world. It's a subject connected to one of the things that I guess I'm most passionate about. So, we're going to have a little conversation around what is the difference between a brand and a personal brand. So many people often get confused by what they are and you know the individual and where they fit and why they fit there. And genuinely, this conversation comes up with all of my coaching clients. It comes up on branding calls. It comes up on the mastermind program, like all the time. What is the difference between brand and personal brand? And actually, at our last face-to-face meet for the Elevate to It Mastermind in London, we did a whole day on this, including a workshop to really kind of thrash out, you know, what is the difference and where do you and your business sit? If you listen to our recent episode with Tiffany from Rennie House, who has just launched her coaching program for supporting women creating supported accommodation businesses, you may have heard that she was someone that really made the full leap from business brand, Rennie House, into personal branding. Sometimes it can definitely be a difficult and confusing decision on how to brand yourself. Are you a business? Are you a person? Are you in somewhere in the middle? Like, what does it all mean? Avoiding this decision or getting it wrong leads to confused messaging and definitely missed opportunities. So if this is on your mind right now, where you should be, or if some changes have happened, then this episode is absolutely for you. So let's get started and talk about what is a personal brand. So this is something that's built around your unique skills. You know, it's your experiences, your reputation, and your personality. Typically, we're going to be looking at your name, your face, and you are central to all of the marketing. The reason for this is that it creates direct trust and builds relationships with your audience, because your audience invest into you and what your story is and, you know, what you're about and what you stand for. It tends to work, personal brand, really well for people who are, you know, coaches, consultants, a designer with a particular style, or even a service provider. The reason for this being is that, particularly now in this day and age, people really want to trust you personally before they buy. You know, so things like your life experience, your perspective, your views, your style, that is the thing that makes you different to the next person because it can't be replicated. Ultimately, with a personal brand, you are the one that's delivering the service. So let's think about the business brand, right? So what is it? So it's having a perception of a company as a whole entity separate from an individual. So typically this is built around the business name, has a clear, strong visual identity, and probably should have really strong organisational values. A business brand is really going to focus on company expertise and systems rather than the founder's personality. This is something, you know, where we're going to create consistent experience regardless of who delivers it. So you can think about some of the, you know, biggest brands, professional brands that you know. It's not necessarily the founder that you're connecting with, it's the service, it's the product that you gravitate towards. So when does this really work? You know, if you're, let's say, for example, planning to build systems that others will deliver, you plan to step back or sell eventually. So it's, you know, if you're going to do that, you don't want a business that solely relies on you being there. When corporate credibility matters more than personal connection. Also, typically with a business professional-led brand, the chances are that you have to and you want to lead with a team approach. So as looping back around to Tiff, in her case of Rennie House, they did a beautiful rebrand for their supported accommodation charity business. They needed a professional brand separate to them as individuals, but absolutely influenced by their style and ethos. But then when we switched it and we came to Tiff as a coach and a mentor, she needed to stand alone in her own brand. trust, because people need to trust in her and need to, want to see the value that she can bring and her expertise. So like her straight to the point attitude is everything that makes Tiff Tiff, but that can't necessarily come across in running a house. It's not right to do that in that situation. I do think it's really important to sort of point out, though, that just because you pick on day one, I'm going to really drive on this personal brand or this business brand, doesn't mean you have to stay there forever. And I think that's definitely true for my case. And I'll jump into that a little bit more in the episode. But most service-based businesses, for example, they naturally evolve. So they might start off, on a personal and then end up as more of a business facing over time. So if you start in personal, then you're everything. But let's imagine then you then add a team, but you stay visible. You gradually build out systems. And then you go and create umbrella brands, and you create programs and communities and other businesses off the original brand. And you adapt the brand to fit. I definitely think don't overthink it too much. Tiff's decision was really clear cut. She was frustrated seeing bad advice in her space. She had unique experience and wanted to make a direct impact. Personal branding for me with her was completely obvious. I think many of my business coaching clients get a little bit stuck because they think, I want to feel bigger, than just me. I think they think personal sometimes may feel unprofessional. Or they might be scared of being too visible for fear of judgment, and they don't recognise their own value. And sometimes, people will get stuck and think that putting them in the box, they don't want to necessarily be in that from a branding perspective, because how do you get out of that? So I'm going to give you 3 really simple little tests here that you can kind of ponder. I think it might help. So number 1, let's think about trust, right? Ask yourself this question. Do people need you personally to buy from? If the answer is yes, personal brand. Think about the replacement. Could somebody else deliver your service and get the same results? If the answer is no, personal brand. Think about the story. Is your personal background, experience or style part of what makes you visible? If the answer is yes, you got it, personal brand. Now I'm going to throw a third element into the mix here, and we're going to talk about hybrid brand, right? So a hybrid brand is when your personal brand is your reputation, your business brand is your promise, but you can actually align both for the ultimate impact. So how this works, so you as the umbrella brand, right? So you're at the top, and then under you, named programmed services underneath you, so they all fit. The program is named by you, community named, founded by your name. So this is me, this is where I am with B-Space. So how I operate, everything connects back to me, but I have distinct offerings under the B-Space brand. So I've got Elevate to 8 Mastermind program. I've had the Hive community. I've got the redesign in the property industry, mentoring program. Everything is part of the bigger B-Space umbrella, if you like. People might get hung up on the B-Space aspect, but don't forget, I started with, that was my product. My product is my properties. It's the design. But ultimately, when it comes to me being a mentor or a coach, well, people know me as Jade. I think it's really important to kind of shine a bit of a light on common mistakes that people make when they tend to be fighting personal branding when it's pretty obvious. So if this resonates with you, then let's think about this. So, typically people will keep changing the business name. They feel unauthentic talking about the company. The best content is personal insights. People might ask you to work with you specifically, right? Forcing personal brand when professional sits, when it's the other way around, is that, you might want to step back from operations, the day-to-day. You might want to build something to sell. It could be that team delivery is a key part of your model. Industry experts and, that corporate approach would really work for you. But you're forcing the personal brand and actually it's not the right fit. So really take a moment and think, okay, the way things are going now in terms of the brand, am I, the things I've just mentioned there, is that happening? Should I be a personal brand when actually I'm just under the brand, or is it the other way around? If personal branding is right, okay, and that's the way forward, you have to lead with authenticity. It's all about you sharing your perspective more openly and in an honest way. You're going to have to use your name. That's your prominent thing, is your name. You need to tell your story. It's such a huge one. This episode of the Be Space podcast is kindly sponsored by the wonderful people at Landlord Furniture Co. Specialising in a huge range of high-quality bespoke furniture, Landlord Furniture Co. provides durable pieces designed to last in your rental properties. If you're searching for the perfect furniture to attract professional HMO tenants or need more resilient pieces for your student accommodations, considering cost-effective furniture packs for a larger property or looking for something more personalised to elevate your serviced accommodation brand, whatever your need, Landlord Furniture Co. will craft a solution for you. You can say goodbye to rubbish old flat packs and start investing in a luxurious experience for your tenants. Backed by a 3-year warranty and exceptional customer service, they really are the smart choice for any landlord or property developer out there who takes their properties, their tenants and their business seriously. So ready to transform your spaces with Landlord Furniture Co. and ensure that your investments stand out in the market? Visit Landlord Furniture Co. today at www.landlordfurnitureco.co.uk, or you can head to their showroom, which is in Oldham, or find them over on Instagram at Landlord Furniture Co. Now, let's get back to the episode. Most businesses and ideas come from an individual's experience and their story, and it's so important, particularly in this day and age, that comes through in a really clear way. And understand, really think about, are you talking in your most authentic voice, whether it's in content, when you meet people, stop hiding behind business speak, just show up and just be you. Now, if you're thinking, actually, do you know what, I'm feeling like what I've created is more of a hybrid, which is what Be Space is. Now, you can lead with your personal brand, but create offerings underneath and always come back to your expertise. So in my case, it's about design, right? I'm a designer. That's my thing. I'm also a busy mother of 2 doing the juggle, which has always been a huge part of my story because I've built my businesses whilst I've been doing the juggle. And that's very much something I remember when I was first very open about that back in 2020, 2021 after COVID. And that just really, kind of resonated with a lot of people and probably typically wasn't spoken about a lot in the property development industry. And it's probably around that time that, I really started putting me out there more, not being necessarily led by the designs in the properties, but because I'm a hybrid, first comes the design. So you see it, it's Be Space, then comes me. So that kind of really works for me because ultimately my original product and always continue to, will be, is my properties and the way I design them, the way they look, the way they feel, blah, blah, blah. So that's why, for me, being a hybrid absolutely works. I touched on this before, but, your comfort zone, you've got to be honest with yourself about this. And we spoke a lot about this within Tiffany's episode. You have to really think about this, because like I always say to my clients, if you create a beast, you're going to have to feed it. So if you're not comfortable having your face out there, being open to the world, then the personal brand, if you're scared to be in front of the camera, you don't like talking and you want to stay in your comfort zone, might not be for you. Some people genuinely prefer staying behind the business. And do you know what? That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Others feel that they're not being authentic without the personal connection, which is definitely something that I kind of, can relate to. And look, neither is wrong. What's really important is that you're honest internally with yourself about where you sit, because if you want your product to work, whatever that may be, you've got to drive it. And if you're not comfortable with the way that that's happening, then guess what? It's going to fall very, very flat very quickly. So really ask yourself, what feels completely authentic to me? What am I trying to deliver? You don't want to definitely come across as something that you're not. What would your ideal client prefer? Put yourself in your dream client's head and think about what you're putting out there. Now, is that connecting to them? You know, because ultimately you've got a product, you're solving a problem. Like, is that going to convey? But listen, whatever you choose, whether it's personal or professional branding, please, please, please make it super intentional, because genuinely the worst place to be is accidentally somewhere in between, because being in this place is super confusing to yourself in terms of, I don't know what content to make. I hear that a lot. I'm not sure what to say. You know, and if you feel like that, imagine how your audience feels consuming it. And that means that whatever you're putting out there is probably mediocre, which means it's going to get mediocre results. For me, in this day and age, the biggest kind of tool we have online and building the brand is to really, really dig down into authenticity. You know, I keep saying this a lot at the moment in different sessions, but like, the robots are coming to take over. We know this. So how do we as humans hold on to what we've got and grow? Well, by being our complete authentic selves at all points, because we are still going to crave that real connection and to be and to hear about real stories that can motivate and inspire us. So I hope that helps. You know, it's a short and sweet episode from me this week, but it's just such a hot topic and often confusing to people. So like, really think about, you know, in summary, what feels right for you? Are you the type of person that's very comfortable having their name in the face splashed all over the place? Is that the driver? Are you happy to talk to the camera? Can you see a video of yourself and think, wow, my makeup's on my face, my teeth look wonky, my roots need doing, but do you know what? I'm all right with it, because genuinely that's the place that you've got to get yourself to. And I always laugh with my clients about that, because if I spent all the time in the world analysing how I look, I would never post anything. But do you know what? I'm a real person. I'm absolutely not perfect. I'm 42, so I'm aging a bit. But there you go, you know, that's me. And guess what? People like that attitude and can relate to that attitude. So it's all part of you know, how I deliver that. So do you sit over on the personal side? Ask yourself those questions, or do you sit somewhere in the middle? You know, is it a mix? Are you a hybrid person? And if you do, really consider that kind of umbrella approach of, you know, your brand at the top and then the products underneath, you at the top, or the brand at the top and the products underneath. What could that look like for you? Or do you sit on the business facing brand? Do you want to create something which is scalable, that you can sell, that doesn't need you, that other teams can create, that systems can, you know, grow, so on and so forth? Like a brand that, you know, a consumer brand that people want to be part of, that they don't necessarily need to be, you know, driven by the founder's story. A great example of that is our builders merchants, the Builders Yard. You know, that is very much a business-facing brand. That's very much been created to grow and sell. And it's got quite a clear kind of point of difference within its industry and a real step up in culture for the people that go there. And it works really well. Not once have you seen, you know, my husband Tim and his brother Adam, who created it, have you seen their faces? You don't need to, because the products, the vibe, the branding, the trucks, the merch, like, that does the job. They don't need to show up. I mean, no offense, lads, but if you did, it might not work so much, eh? So yeah, hopefully, guys, you know, kind of looking at those three categories of what to consider. There is not one size fits all approach, really, because you're the individual. You've got different stuff going on, so you really need to think about that. But yeah, just do it with intention, right? Because you don't want wishy-washy. Wishy-washy just gets wishy-washy results. And yeah, I mean, it's a great place to be, isn't it? When you can do your own thing, create your own business, products. Like, you know, you want to give it everything you've got and make sure it absolutely works. If you've listened to this and thought, yep, I feel like I know where I want to go with this now, I've got my long-established branding and design course, which, I would like to offer to you guys. Like, let's hook up and have a conversation about how I can support you to create your brand. That has been going for many years, and I've been really lucky to do that program with some super cool, inspiring people from the Instagram community in both business and property. Look in the show notes below. Hit me up. Let's make the magic happen, because from that process, it's about, you know, it's absolutely created from a deep psychological place of what makes you tick and who you are and what you stand for and what the values are. And then it's either translated into the personal, into the hybrid, or into the brand facing, business facing brand, whatever that might be. But part of that process is really identifying which category you would go in, and then together is creating the initial creative direction for the brand. So yeah, reach out to me, guys. I love branding. I enjoy everything I do, but the branding side within business is, I just think, such a huge opportunity for anyone if they spend the time to really create it from the right place. What it's done, B-Space has done for me over the years, kind of crazy, really. And it's all about the brand. Over time I've evolved more to be part of it. But the properties remain what they are. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. Reach out to me. Very happy to support you on the branding journey. And yeah, thank you very much. That's a wrap for another episode of the B-Space podcast. I've been your host, Jade McNeil, property developer, mentor, and business coach. Don't forget to subscribe on your favourite platforms. And until next time, remember, don't believe the hype and always keep it real.